Hi there. It's a first line day. Today we are looking at the gate of caring, gate 27, and the first line, which is called selfishness. First lines always, as we're starting to hear as we go through these, they always give you the foundation of the hexagram. So this is the first line that tells us that in order to care, really, we have to care for ourselves first. Caring is all about caring for ourselves first. That is the foundation of caring. It's that thing of putting on your own mask before you help others. It's having your own resources before you share with anyone else. You can't give away what you don't have. So being selfish about it is an important first step. All first lines, Ra tells us, are really deeply invested in finding out what life is about through the lens of that gate. What is caring actually about? What truly has value? Is caring necessary? Does it have a value? What is the function of caring? In the exaltation, we have the ego-driven first law of caring for oneself, which is not necessarily at the expense of others. The power to care for oneself first. Selfishness is one of those words that we often will have a judgment around. I was always brought up in a sort of an environment where being selfish was really bad news. It's like you were really going to your room to sit on the naughty step if you were told that you were selfish. But actually, it's caring for each other, not necessarily at the expense of others. So it's not that selfishness in a way that is going to hurt anybody else. It's almost the opposite, actually, because if you take care of yourself, you are better equipped then to take care of others. So this is that thing of putting on your own oxygen mask in the aeroplane before you help anybody else, The 27-1 is investigating what caring is all about, especially when it comes to caring for oneself. How does that work? In order to feed that knowledge up the line, they have to really investigate into that. The 2 and the 3 and the 4, they're all resting on this knowledge that the first line investigates and comes up with. What it learns is that caring begins at home being with the self. It's like honouring this temple and caring about this temple, and then you can take it outwards from there. To care for yourself is to enhance the quality of your own life. And this is a theme that comes through this gate 27. It's about enhancing the quality of life. Correct caring enhances the quality of life. This is where it begins. So selfishness is not bad. If you don't care for yourself first, as I said before, you've got nothing to give. In the detriment, it says envy and its attendant misfortunes. The power of selfishness that is manifested through envy. Ra says that this is about wanting to care for yourself as well as other people look after themselves. It's looking at someone and saying, I wish I could look after myself as well as they look after themselves. That's where this sort of that envy of it comes in. I wish I was as good to myself as they are to themselves. I know I've done this myself. I've seen people who are so talented, it feels like, so gifted at looking after themselves. They'll buy themselves flowers or they'll take themselves out for dinner, and they would just do these little things to say, look, I'm really worth this. This is a value that I hold dear. And I have felt that sense of envy, like, I wish I could do that for myself, but somehow I don't. So the detriment here is, I want to be as good to myself as that other person is to themselves. This is the power of selfishness that manifests through envy. I can't look after myself. I need someone else to look after me. I need someone else to buy me flowers and take me out for dinner. I wish I could look after myself better. It's this kind of energy. And there's always both sides when we look at these. We live in a binary. This is what being in a binary is all about. We have all the expressions of it. So every single step along a genetic path, it's that branch, it has that possibility, 2 possibilities or 2 potentials. Some of us recognize intrinsically that we have to care for ourselves first. And then there are others who say, take care of me. Please, I don't know how to take care of myself. No? So we have all of it there, the weakness and the strength. And the strong ones can take care for themselves, and the weak ones maybe can't. And we go into the grounding. The earth here is in gate 28, the gate of the game player, the risk taker. And in the first line, we have preparation, which is a perfect first line, that investigative foundation. The 28th gate we know is part of the intuitive process. It's a gate that has deep acoustic potential, as all of these individual gates do, along with the melancholy and the deafness and the stubbornness that can be found here. The acoustic potential here is more about listening than it is hearing. Ra says that there is a difference between these two things. So it's what you take in. That's that sort of quality of listening that you are absorbing in. And it's a splenic gate. So it's absorbing something that's really healthy for you. And sometimes it's just a question of using your strategy and authority to know what that is, rather than going up into your mind or being conditioned by society. So there is another fear associated with the 28th gate, as there is with all of the splenic gates. And the fear here is called the fear of death. But Ra tells us that actually it's not the fear of death per se, it's the fear of dying without finding our true potential, or without finding something worth fighting for. It's the fear of dying before we truly lived. Maybe you could look at it that way too. So it's also tied in with value. It's finding something that is of value in life. And also that the deep depression or melancholy that can come if you've ever been with someone who's in their last weeks, days, months, who has never really found they've had anything of value in their life. And it's a deep sadness that accompanies them. So the 28, it wants to find values, and this is part of what it really wants. It's coming in from gate 50. This was the last earth grounding gate, the gate 50, which is the gate of values. So if life is not of value and you have the gate 28 in your design, it can be really uncomfortable until you find that thing that is valuable. There can be a real push all the time to find what it is. We have that melancholy coming through, that's the wave that takes it between happiness and sadness, between hope and pain, and melancholy and that creative muse. This is part of the journey here. So it's grounding the energy of caring. So what do we care about so much that we're prepared to struggle for it? Is there anything in our life that really is worth the struggle, that we really care about? Is there anything we'd risk death for? And we ask yourself these questions. This is a beautiful energy really that supports caring, especially in this first line where we're told that we have to look after ourselves first. This is the gate where we value ourselves so much that we are the thing that we're prepared to live for. Yeah? We can care for ourselves before anyone else, and we feel the value inherent in that. In other news, we have Mars making a little gate jump today. It's moving into gate 36. So Mars symbolizing growth and the correct use of energy. Ra said he often sees Mars just as a 12-year-old. It got that immature, real fighting energy growing into something very powerful, but most of the time just expressing as a 12-year-old child. So it's very immature to begin with. It has a primal force. It's a very powerful, but it's also quite immature, which makes it slightly, a bit squeaky. And now gate 36 in the gate of crisis, it's also quite interesting to have Mars there. 36 is a solar plexus gate, so it's gate of emotionality, it's the gate of the wave, and this is where we can crave a build-up of release of that energy that comes with expectation and experience and all of those things that come through 36, part of the stream there that we have of feelings running from the 41 right up to the 35. So there can be a lot of stuff around inexperience here. Part of the fear or the anxiety or the nervousness, as we find in the awareness gate or the awareness center of the solar plexus, is there's a fear here of inexperience. And this is one of the things that drives the 36, to try new things and try new things and try something else in order to get experience and no longer be seen as inexperienced. And yet without some time to deal with those experiences correctly, without them being allowed to follow up their stream and go up into the place where they sit in privacy and retreat, and they're able to be assimilated so that sense can be made of them, they still are just experiences, and they don't have that potential wisdom to give to the collective. So that again feeds into the inexperience. And there can also be a sexual angle to this. There's a lot of sexual energy in the solar plexus, and this can be a fear of inexperience in that sexual realm too. So it's very vulnerable, inexperience when you think it might be called out can be a very vulnerable place to be. So here maybe we're being asked to surrender to the inevitable ups and downs in order to develop maturity, to learn from and handle crisis with some kind of emotional clarity. So is it possible that Mars can help us in this developmental journey? The moon, currently in 46, but moving into its splenic phase, beginning with gate 18 at 11:59. Correction, this is the gate that is easily dissatisfied with imperfection and just wants to get things right. It wants to correct the pattern, constantly happy to repeat the pattern, but it just wants to correct the pattern. Very good at seeing flaws and mistakes and knowing how they can be changed to make them better. It's also a gate about keeping things impersonal. You're not correcting the thing, you're not correcting the person, you're correcting the thing. And this is the thing with that, the correct gate of correction. It has an underlying theme of discomfort with authority as well. It's like to challenge authority almost wherever it finds it, but certainly if it finds it misbehaving. Gate 18 does not like that. And then next we move to gate 48, again, of course, splenic, we're on that splenic journey at 23:31. 23:21. Okay, that's it. 9:20 tonight, the gate of depth, with its deep-rooted instinctual memory and innate wisdom, which can be used to solve problems. Okay, so as the name of this gate tells us, there's a possibility for great depth here. And this depth can be brought to bear on whatever problems are being focused on at the time. The moon brings us that sense of focus. And the aim of it is to bring a workable solution, really. This is what it wants. And at the end of the day, the workable solution will improve conditions. And it will also feed into the depth so that next time there's something else there, something else that can be pulled out. There's a few more drops of wisdom in the well, which is another name for this gate of depth. So that's it for today in our first line of gate 27. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to see if my remote control works now to turn this off. I will see you tomorrow. Go gently. It doesn't work. Hold on. Bye.